Hello, everyone, and easy. Today is three faces, one new one, and it's not just us two. We'll be having more guests going forward, and today we're joined by Roberta. Of course, it's me and Alex. Today's session will be similar to Mondays, where we'll be building together, right, and collectively. And of course, we'll provide an intro, sort of outlining and presenting what the sort of problem statement is and what we're trying to do with today's build. And I think that said, before going any further, Roberta, first and first, thanks for joining us. And maybe why don't you provide some context as to who you are and how you and Alex know each other. And yeah, but thanks again for being with us here today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Hi, Alex, and hello, everybody. So just to give you a little bit of context of who I am, I've been in Web3 industry as a marketer for about 3 years now. I know Alex through one of the projects that we worked together, so I'm a big fan of Alex, and I'm following everything she's
Likewise.
doing. And so recently I started working on a Web3 job board. And the reason being was because I was doing my own applications to various jobs and just seeing a lot of the Web3 job boards not being very transparent about the jobs that they're posting about, and seeing that some job postings that look like they were posted today were actually posted maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And with the current market, it's really important to apply to jobs at speed. Sorry, my lips just started bleeding. It's typical when we're going live. So speed is super important when you're applying for jobs. So I wanted to create something for myself, essentially like a scraper that shows up straight away when a job goes live on an ATS. So I started creating a scraper for various ATSs. So ATSs are essentially application tracking systems, and there's Ashby, Lever, Greenhouse. Every company has their own. And it's a kind of snowballed from there. I built my own database with Superbase, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could make this into an actual job board. And that's how the whole process started. And I've been sort of vibe coding. Since when I started it, I started talking about it on LinkedIn, and I started also receiving people interested in seeing the product. So I opened a wait list, and now I'm sitting around, 75 people. And that was like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So I'm super excited about that. It's gaining quite a bit of momentum. And so when I saw that you guys, had your CreateOS, I was just like, wow, I really need to try this, because I was previously using Lovable, and I was super excited to see that you guys are using, anti-gravity. And my husband is, really geeking out about Cursor anti-gravity, and he's constantly trying to tell me to get onto anti-gravity, but it might be a little bit over my head at the moment. Yeah. So that's kind of the background for me. And so when I reached out to you, Eric, I was thinking maybe we could build something today that will be complementary to the job board.
Okay.
And it could be something which is like a dashboard, essentially like a data center based on my data set. So it basically showing like how many jobs are currently live, how many companies are hiring. And I thought that'd be a cool project to try to build, because I'll have to build the actual Web3 job board. I have to take that all from Lovable to CreateOS. That's a bit of a bigger project, but something as a side complementary. So
For sure.
That's nice.
the plan.
I love, because the idea of getting together and then just building. First of all, we don't know how this is going to go. None of us do. Like, I think it's like in the brand promise of vibe coding or vibe building, vibe deploying. Then you're praying the gods of LLMs and then just seeing what comes back. We will bring, of course, some degree of wisdom, some degree of I don't know how to say that, probably experience or creativity in both in equal measure. And then we will see how far we go. There is no finish line where there is a win or a loss. It's the journey that actually matters. So I'm really excited. I know that the problem that Roberta is tackling is something that many can relate to. Anyone who has been on the other side of the job market, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I definitely felt that there is an asymmetry between the scalability on the side of the recruiter and the scalability on the side of those that are applying for jobs. Someone is always shortchanged in terms of visibility, information asymmetry over what you actually see, what can be seen as a job applicant. So I'm really excited to see the product that Roberta is putting together. And yeah, rooting for you, rooting for the product, and let's see, what we can build in this hour together. Really exciting. I think Eric
For
is going to
sure.
be the master of the screen
The
with the
Weaver.
prompt. Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
think
prompt master.
exactly.
Yeah.
I might change my title just to that, but I think it'll be quite a skewed expectations. But I would say it's important to also understand, to have a pulse on what's going on in the market, and Web3 is such a niche. Like, I think the fact that it's such a niche career path for everything you want to do, right? Could be BD, growth, marketing, engineering, whatever the case. That is a double-edged sword, in the sense that, so if you've been in it for a number of years, you know the landscape quite well, because there's different ecosystems, and EVMs, Solana, and everything. And now the landscape, I think, has changed a little bit, considering that the space has matured. So since the advent that you have ETFs, so now you're able to access and have exposure to the main coins, such as BTC, ETH, and there's also package deals. But let's just stay with the bigger ones. Now you also have institutional players within the space, right? And I would say, probably, Roberta, correct me if I'm wrong, those are the ones that I would say are most active right now in terms of having openings. And I would say, with such players, also the expectations change for candidates out there, right? So the just it's a different ball game altogether. Of course, like, the skill set that they are after is similar. Like, it's not like, if you're a marketer, what's asked of you has changed. But I would say maybe the nature of the stakeholders has evolved a little bit or changed. So you have probably more drawn out application processes, just because they're more thorough, and just the pro. So I would say it's important to have access to such information as well, beyond the maybe also within the job seeking and the job hunt and discovery, right? So you might want to know, I don't know how you think about this, Robert, but you might want to know that X, Y, and Z company is going to take a month and a half end to end, as opposed to 2 or 3 weeks, which you were probably used to before, where people were fast moving, and you might have 2 jobs at the same time that you're applying for, and you know what I mean. I think from the candidate standpoint, you need to have access to information, and the key word that you mentioned there, Alex, is information symmetry. So I want to ask you, Roberta, these kind of considerations, do you think you want to also account for within your build further down the line? Like, not now, today, of course, this is pretty elaborate. But
Yeah. I mean, it's already, thanks for the question. It's already actually part of my job board. I have a reputation score ranking, and it's divided into 4 sections, and it's out of 100. And essentially, it's from a candidate experience perspective. So it's about transparency. So how is their process? How transparent are they about their process? What is the speed like? How many rounds of interviews do they have? All of that is going to be added to that reputational score. And so when people come onto the web board, they'll see, like, okay, well, this company's hiring for three positions, but maybe their reputation score is like a 3 or 30 out of 100. So maybe I'm not going to apply here. And I think it's going to also encourage companies to raise the bar and the standards, because I think that because the industry has been so unregulated, the hiring has also been unregulated. So there's a lot of farming, there's a lot of putting jobs out there and actually not intending to hire and not having consequences. And I think that as the industry is maturing, the players that want to stay for the long run will have to think about their reputation and how they come across with candidates as well. And that's kind of part of what I want to do, is to push companies towards that, to be like, hey, look, you cannot just do things and get away with it.
Yeah. And honestly, like, it's already a high risk industry in many ways. There is also risk asymmetry because, you don't know, like, once you join a company, the risk of whatever is the risk of startup is already very, very high. But within Web3, the life cycles are just compressed.
Multiplied.
So you really can't ever tell what is going to be, the actual reputation that usually comes from data that you don't have access to, that is not very obvious, or that is coming from other people who have gone through the grind of working with them. And then a bit of a glass door, but enhanced, because Glassdoor, very corporate in the end, has become very polite and very gamified for the wrong ways, in my opinion.
Yeah. Because I used to apply, because I used to work in finance. So it was mainly like Indeed. Roberta, you mentioned that you lived in the UK as well. Also you, Alex, as well. So Indeed was
Mhm.
just like the hub, the mecca for, and previously it was such a different experience where it was quantity over quality, because finance is a bigger sector, more jobs and more roles. So it was more, let me send out a bunch so that, say today I've done 15, that's my quota, and then I can live on, like, move on with my day. Whereas I think within Web3 the mentality is more, okay, there's fewer roles, two or three that I think that I can be well suited for. Let It's more quality over quantity. Let me understand how I can, either mesh with someone or create something within my network, or vibe code something that might so I would say there's an element of entrepreneurship an innovation that has to come from also the candidate, because otherwise you're just not going to stand out. And right now, I think it's also worth saying, to address the elephant in the room, that it's more difficult than ever, because AI it's what can I say, a pretty pressing presence. And so you just need to realize that it's here to stay. I don't think there's gonna be, we're not here to talk about job relocation and stuff like that. It's more about understanding that there will be different roles, and how I think candidates can adapt their skill sets to ensure that they're you know um, marketable, and no pun intended. So yeah, maybe last point that I wanted to ask both of you is, like, how do you foresee, like, how what are you going to do within your sort of realm, right? Are you going to keep being yourselves and being curious? And because, for example, that's been my sort of interpretation, given that AI is here, is just to be as up to date with the latest tooling, and just improve my skill sets across the board, and just be curious, and see what the time takes us. Of course, I'm very lucky that NodeUps is more than welcoming, and just even boosts and enhances even more such journey. But I wanted to ask both of you, how do you see AI being a close ally, as opposed to an enemy, maybe, within your daily work life?
Alex, do you want to go first, or do you want me to? I'll jump in.
Okay. Go.
Okay. So I think from my perspective, similar to what you mentioned, I'm trying to keep on top of all the AI and the tooling, and how all the AI is coming into different tech stacks as well, like Notion, for example, or Zapier. They're all changing with the AI. But also trying to see that with the flood of AI, there's going to be things that are, in my opinion, that are going to be more valued, that are more traditionally pre-AI, right? So for example, if you look at sales and outreach, emails, LinkedIn messages, all of that are going to be so flooded that it's going to be your more traditional outreach methods that are maybe more physical, that are going to stand out. Because previously maybe a good copy stood out, but now as AI develops and it gets better at writing, all of them are going to look very similar to each other. So it's like, what is the thing that you can do to stand out? And it's going to be, in my opinion, going back to more traditional ways of doing things. So kind of from an operational standpoint, making sure that I'm up to date with automation, so that I can really focus on the things that matter. And a lot of things that matter are going to be building maybe real relationships in real life, and AI kind of taking the kind of the boring things out. But then I'm not sure. Who knows how it's going to look like in 2 to 3 years? Because the last 6 months have been crazy in terms of the development. It's just like mind blowing, So
yeah, I think for sure on my side, I see that there is an expectation for everybody to scale their output through AI. That's for sure. So a degree of personal delegation to automated processes, that it's something that will remain the staple. But then even more so, the idea that just because you can doesn't mean that you should do something. That is becoming even more core, because prioritizing your effort means that if you are doing something stupid or something pointless that doesn't drive impact for the companies, then you're just scaling the problem very, very fast. If you're setting up like a full set of agents, I see so many posts of people saying, I hired 15 agents that are doing my job, and now I can earn 15 times more. To me, it's a bit of a silly way of putting it, because of course you can multiply yourself, you multiply your clever, full of wisdom decision making, but also your stupid, uninformed, untalented decision making. So at the core is, who do you trust in your team? Who do you get in your team? And then give them all the tools that they need to experiment, to fail forward safely with tools without any expectations that whatever you do is perfect the first round. There is always a degree of learning and iteration. And then there is also, a sense of creativity that to me is now even more boosted, because you have got to have a lateral thinking mindset by default, where you have to think out of the box in how to pair tooling, previous experience, old proven strategies with new ways of implementing, delegating, taking ownership. So it is fascinating as marketers. It is very risky. And I think I have my own like Substack moaning post about vibe marketing. And definitely there is a degree of optimism from no marketer of being able to just bypass, the years and the stripes and the, bleeding edge that marketers have gone through on the decision making. But of course, I think there will be some successes, some learning, some tools that will just be absorbed, and some others that will instead flourish and make our life much more interesting. So good. I am so keen to build. I think after all of this build up, I think it's time to get the prompt out and see. Like maybe Roberta, you can say a little bit more because I know that we have worked behind the scene on understanding. Yeah, we came ready. Actually, you came ready with a suggestion of a prompt. So maybe you can walk us through what is the
Exactly, yeah.
prompt, and then we can see it flourish.
Break it
Yep.
down.
Yeah, so essentially, what I was thinking for this prompt is to have something adjacent to my Web3 job board. And this is a more of a front end view of what we're building. It's not connected to the back end at the moment, but it would be with the view of being able to connect it with my database. So essentially, this dashboard is just an overview of my database. So when you land on it, you'll see how many jobs are available, what companies are hiring, what are the most common roles, on which chains. So it's essentially a dashboard. And this is maybe something I will integrate into my Web3 job board once I have the data set connected to it. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Then let's get started.
Yeah,
exciting.
Yeah. Oh, and I also plugged my waitlist in it. So once this is deployed, if you check it out on GitHub, you can actually sign up to my waitlist for the job board.
100%.
For sure.
And call to action for anybody, whether you have a job or not, it's always good to keep browsing and understanding, if anything, for marketing intelligence as well. Yeah. Okay, we are using Claude today, Eric. We are feeling like...
Yeah, I don't know. What do you suggest? We use the Haiku, the last one, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we can leave it to Roberta. What do you suggest? What do you think? You want to use Opus? Do you want to use Sonnet?
I'll go with Opus 4.6.
Oh, we live on the edge today. Let's go.
It feels like being at a restaurant and ordering like the sides. You know what I mean? What are you gonna have?
Yeah. I mean, I don't complain. Like, if coding and building is as pleasant as ordering a nice meal at the restaurant, I mean. Yeah, that's literally cooking, right? That's a technical term for it.
Exactly. The sequence will be the same as last week. So basically, the prompt is the key to unlock the conversation, right, and to get everything started with the AI agent, which in this case we chose Opus. There will be different iterations based on what we're going to get. Well, that's a discussion that we're going to have collectively between me, Alex, and Roberta, and then afterwards we're going to go full circle and deploy the build. Of course, it'll be on my personal profile. I can then share the link also with Roberta so she can share it. And so within the next half an hour, I would say there'll be proof that will go from concept to live app, hopefully, because we're doing everything live here, so that that everything will be fine and smooth. But that's the idea. So
Yes.
see, yeah, go on.
Yes. No,
Sorry,
no,
because
I
I don't
just
see you
wanted to
guys.
say that. Oh, no, no, I just wanted to say that the link to the form as the CTA, of course, it will be live on, I mean, touch wood, everything goes well, and this is going to be live. But then also we will post it as first comment of whatever we are going to post this video on. So if you're looking live, you're going to see the link appearing sometime soon. If this is not live and you're just watching a recording, then just look at the very first comment on wherever you are, and you will find a link to Roberta's waiting list.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
is there any way that I can share this in the comments at the moment? The form.
Yeah, I think you can go on Twitter, like,
Oh, okay, just share it
or
there.
from your. I think it's best to do it from your phone, if I'm not mistaken. So if you go on X from your phone and you have the link, copy and paste it on. So going on our profile on Build on NodeOps, and then clicking on the stream, and then you should be able to see the chat there, and you can copy and paste it there, and then we should be able to. Everyone should be able to see it.
Okay, perfect. I'll just do that then.
And Roberta, do you already have a name for the product that you have? I see there Web3 Pulse. Is that the official name, unofficial name?
No, that's just
Yes.
a vibe coded name. But I have a name which I'm not sharing just yet because
Fair enough.
I've already published it on the domain, and then and I have gotten people on my app already, and I'm just like, where are you guys coming from? Because it's not quite ready. So
Okay.
I'll share that probably later, as in not later today, but just like later in the journey.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure thing.
Nice.
Cool.
Let's just say
Code
that
has
it's
been written.
a pretty ambitious and sizable build.
Well, we go big or go home. Honestly, we
bigger.
have to try and push the boundaries and see. For sure, we're going to get some learning out of this. That's a lot of code.
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
So let's try and break down what's it done before we actually look at the preview, right? And maybe Roberta, by sort of dissecting what the agent has gone through, whether that's what you expected or it's missed something before we actually look at the preview. What do you think?
Sure. Sticky header. Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Sun moon theme. Yeah, so I added the sun moon theme toggle because I had candidates review my Web3 job board, and they were saying that they quite like to have that feature because initially it was only dark. So that's good. That's there. Hero gradient headline data page. That's good.
3 dots. Yes. 12-month bar chart.
Breakdown. Yep. And demand skills. We had that top job roles, most active companies, seller ranges, and the waitlist CTA. That's good.
Did you add these names within your prompt? You did, right?
Yeah, I had.
Okay. Let's see. Do you guys want to see? Okay, let's go.
Let's see what it looks like. Oh, decent. Looks good. Oh, I like this toggle option. I like the darker.
You like a darker, right? Me too.
Yeah.
So let's walk through it, like because what do you think? What do you think was different from the other one? Like, let's break it down and be as critical and objective as possible.
No, I think it looks great. It has actually quite a similar feel to my Web3 job board. I think that their Web3 has this kind of vibe, doesn't it? This darker feel. So that's really nice. I like the open roles. Yep. Could you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, of course.
Job postings. This is I really like this. I wonder if there's a way to kind of connect those job postings where you could click on it and you could go to the jobs that were posted, say, in February or January, December. But that's just me like thinking out loud.
Oh, for sure. We'll try. Sector breakdown.
Oh, this is nice. I like this.
Not bad at all, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is also a way to get intelligence from the job market in terms of health of the market and moving trends.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be quite valuable just as a database, as the job board gets more information, and it grows over time, you can
Exactly.
see the trends. So I like the fact that even in if you go up, that the job roles are divided based on the different, whether it's DeFi, Deepin, layer 1, layer 2. I like that because it's when you go to other job boards, it's just very, you go there and it's just like, here are 7,000 jobs.
Yeah, it's cluttered. Yeah, it's true. It's overwhelming as well for the
Yeah.
business. For
But
the
in the
visitor.
end, like if you're going for a job, doesn't matter, if it is a technical role or like a non-technical role, you do have a specialty in certain sectors. So you're wasting a lot of time sifting through, and there is very little filtering that is actually appropriate to Web3. That it's very difficult to understand which roles can be good or not. By the way, I say hi to our audience. I can see that the chat is lively. I can see some Twitch, some YouTube comments. So hi to everybody. If you have any comments, any ideas about how we're building, what we're building, for Roberta, for us, for everybody,
Yeah, do let us
do
know.
add your thoughts. Yes, we're live. We're
Exactly.
definitely live.
I'm also just dropping the waitlist form link on X as well. So that's
Perfect.
there too.
And I think one point that it's worth making before we go back to the build is that, as Alex correctly mentioned, like you don't even need to be like looking for a job within Web3 to, I think, take an interest in this. I think it's a good habit to see where the market is at by understanding, who's hiring, who isn't, and what kind of roles, what kind of skill sets. Also because being a new, well, not new field, but like a field, Web3, where innovation is a key ingredient, and there's always need and an ask for new skills or like a new tool being implemented. Having access to as rich of a Web3 dashboard as possible will, also be a good indicator of what's in demand, and that's just for people in general also who would like to make a transition from Web2 to Web3. So aka do sign up to Roberta's form, because I think you can get
I love
something
the
out of it.
tags. Personally, I love these tags: hot, rising, or new. There is nothing. Oh, it's cooling. Okay, C++. If you are C++ guys, nope. And I don't see any vibe coding in there.
None.
By the way, prompt engineering has not made it yet onto the top skills. Interesting. Okay. Oh, I love this.
Yeah, this is great. I think this is one of the things, the salary ranges is one of the things that is the hardest one to actually know, because a lot of jobs don't actually have the job postings. But Web3 Careers does this thing where you can submit, so then it says, oh, in December in marketing, this was the average salary. So that's like a nice way of collecting it. But I also want to bring more transparency about salary ranges into the job board, and that's going to be part of the reputation score. Are you showing your salary range in your job description? And if you're not, it's kind of going to downgrade you a little bit on your reputation ranking.
That's good. Transparency, and being an equitable choice for everybody, having a fair playing field for everybody, knowing transparently what the job is saying across the board, across geographies, across gender, across skill set. It's really important. Oh, that's so nice.
You see, Roberta embedded your sign up form.
Yes. Perfect. So go and everyone can sign up. Eric, you can sign up as well. I won't tell Naman. You can sign up as a company.
That's hilarious. I will, just for discovery purposes. Okay, so I think this is quite surprising, I would say. Like, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's good prompt. What model did you use to craft your prompt? Was it Gemini?
No,
Or
I
typically?
used Claude. Actually,
Okay.
initially I got a prompt that was like 2 pages long, and I was just like, okay, maybe this is
Mm.
a bit intimidating. So just give me like a shorter version of this. So I
Something
used
that
Claude.
you can do once you'll start, hopefully you'll be enticed to build more with us after this, is to look at these, right? The prompt guidelines. So you can just feed it to your ID, your model of choice. So you said you mentioned they use Claude, and we just put these together to help builders out there to structure and craft effective
Eric, can
prompts.
you show again where to access it? Because every time
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
you're
yeah.
very fast.
Okay, so you go, this is CreateOS, the home screen.
Yeah.
You click on create, and before I would say you stop building, it's right here, right next to where you can select your model. So here you can choose the models that are supported, and here you see a little toggle that says prompt practice. You click there, and the guidelines pop up. And as I mentioned last time, this is something that you have to do once. You upload it. Of course, if you change the model, then you'd have to do it again because context is everything for AI. So upload it, and just to understand, these are just our suggestions of what makes for an effective prompt versus one that is not as effective. And I would say your one was pretty good, given what we are able to retrieve out of it. I quite like it. So, guys, now the tinkering begins. So, what would you like to edit? And yeah,
So if you had to, let's try and change something. What would you change? Maybe is the color or something would you want to do differently? Some of the copy.
Could you scroll down one more time, Eric, so I can just have a wee look? Yeah. Breakdown.
maybe something that we could add is a menu bar on the right, so that I'm able to jump to whatever section of the website I want, based on, for example, if this is one section. If I want to go to in-demand skills, I would have, maybe it's better if I enlarge it, a menu here on the right, and I'm able to just click on in-demand skills as opposed to just scrolling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just something.
Yeah. One other thing I thought of was just having more CTAs, rather than just having it right at the bottom.
Makes sense.
And maybe changing the color scheme from this kind of turquoise purple, which is quite usual, to something a little bit more interesting. Let me just think. Could we ask for some kind of mustard and mustard teal? I like mustard and teal. Let's see how that looks like.
Alex, anything else?
No, I think
You
it's
think?
very much in vibe with Web3.
It is.
mean, it does what it is. And I like the idea of switching up the colors so that they are less, obvious for Web3.
Right.
Mm,
Anything else
yeah, no, I think it's
that is more
okay. No,
structural to the website?
no, actually, I think it did. Yeah, I think it's okay. Do we have, you know what? This is the laptop view. Let's do ourselves some pain. Let's get some, yes, let's see if it's actually reactive.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it
decent.
is
Yeah. Oh, that
not
part.
bad.
That's okay, I would say.
It's still okay. Okay.
And I would say, I don't know what you girls think, but even within, especially within the mobile view, having an option on the right for the menu, it'll be more comfortable rather than just scrolling. You know how like it's.
Yeah. Sorry, just
Okay. In the meantime, I'm on the palette generator on the side. As marketers go, we can
It's
see.
only breaking for salary ranges by role. and the month by month breakdown, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus, that is.
Yeah, maybe this view needs a bit of work. Maybe the wide view.
Yeah, maybe by changing the palette that works better, as I'm no less aggressive.
Yeah, but
Because
it's
right now
weird.
it feels like being at the dentist with this.
Yeah, I think the issue here is that it keeps the same colors when it's dark versus when it's white, right? So you'd want it to kind of change the font color should be becoming maybe darker or black or some darker version of the current color palette.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So what changes would you guys like to make?
Let's add the menu that you mentioned.
Okay.
To be able to get to each section.
Yeah, the menu on the right hand side, including the main section. Do you think I need to be more restrictive, or that's enough? Do you think we'll pick it up?
Menu on the right hand side, including the main sections from the website. Yeah, I think that should be enough. It should pick that up, yeah.
Change the main colors from purple and what is this, like dark navy? I don't know. Blue to what was it you mentioned? Mustard and teal.
Teal, yeah, Teal. Teal.
Interesting. Once when it is a what should we say there? Once they select the light mode.
I would say adjust font colors to darker, maybe two steps darker versions of the actual color, because at the moment it's the same color in light and dark.
2 times darker.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to change the font, or you're okay with this?
I'm okay with the font, I think.
Do you want to change the name by chance, or is this enough? Is this okay? Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for now, because the name anyway, I wouldn't want to change to the actual one.
No. Yeah, I just want to. Maybe something that we can change is the date.
We're still in stealth. I like this.
Instead of being data, we put, instead of being the queue, we can put the day of the date.
Yeah.
Today's date. Sorry. What do you think?
Yes, and maybe it could also have. It says live market data, but it would be good if it said like when it was updated, like updated 5 hours ago, or something.
Okay. Change. How'd you call it? Button on top right hand corner from queue to today's date. Change. Well, not
okay.
change.
How hard would it be to also request for a report to be generated for the past 7 days or something, so that someone can download a PDF or something, so that becomes lead gen for Roberto? Like, download this report.
Whoa. You mean to add the button, or to have actual data being exported based on
just whatever is, I think whatever is on the website, it shows as, instead of someone taking a screenshot, they get something a bit more pretty and comprehensive. Doesn't feel like stealing.
Featuring all this data?
It's not the data underneath or behind it, it's just the representation that you see on the website. Get this as a report, or get this as an infographic, or
yeah, that might be a separate, if you add underneath it and you say create this website as a report and store it as a PDF file for download. I think that should be possible, because usually whatever you're creating
It's
is
Markdown.
hosted somewhere. So I think it should be possible to do that.
Live market data. Jesus. How should I say? Adjust to. Is that what you meant? Or last updated?
Yeah, last updated.
Okay. So and then last thing, sorry, what was it? Add an export section.
Or download report. You can just say add download report section where they can download a PDF version of this dashboard. Oh, Alex, are you speaking? I don't think we can hear you.
Yeah, but the reason I would say it wouldn't be a live stream coding without a doggo trying to gate crash the party. So in case you get...
Should we specify the format that we want to have the report exported as?
I think PDF.
Yeah. And
PDF should work.
You know what? I'll add something else here just to make it more complicated for us, but like better. Usually when you're downloading something, it pops up a sign in prompt. So something like you have to sign in before you can download, or you need to provide your information before you can download. So essentially, if you say what Alex already said as a lead gen, when they click the download button, there should be a pop-up that says enter your name, surname, email, and then once they've done that, then the download starts once they've submitted it. Sorry, Eric, we're making you work.
That's fine. The whole point. What was it? Name,
surname, and email.
Email address. Anything else? I think that's suffice. That should suffice.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
God. And one thing I'd like to point out, Alex, also with you, is that for the previous one that we did was on Monday. It only ran for like 2 minutes 50. And this one that we did right now with Roberta, the one that we're currently doing, ran for 7. This is not right, just because right now it's taking time that we've been reviewing the website just in general. It took 6 minutes. So depending on the ambition, right, of what you're trying to build and the vibe code, the agent will take its time, right? So be cognizant of that. And also it'll consume more credits if you're trying to put together and create something a little bit more significant and powerful. So yeah, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask with regards to the credits, how it works, because a lot of the time people have their own Claude subscriptions. So would it make sense for them to kind of go through the prompts with Claude and get a very extensive prompt that they can just, add to CreateOS? Or how does the credit system work?
So you can connect to you can take any IDE. So if you have your own and you want to vibe code the first phase on your own, plan, subscription, whatever it is that you have, that is definitely, the top of the funnel comes from there, and it's definitely okay. What you would usually do then is to come or what I've seen many people do after, either you have the prompt that is already refined and then you generate the code on us, or if you're able to, but of course that comes with a little bit of more know-how, then you can take that. If you're generating the code base elsewhere, you can connect it and put it on your GitHub and then connect your GitHub. And then from that GitHub, whether you have generated the code natively on CreateOS, so you have created it elsewhere, then once it's on GitHub, you connect and then you deploy with the assisted code on our site. So I've seen both ways, people that come and do the entire life cycle on CreateOS. Other times they just come for the code creation. Other times they do the code creation elsewhere, and then they come and deploy on us. And there is no obligation. Like, that's the beauty also of CreateOS. You can come at any point in your life cycle and benefit from that. Then once it's live, and say that you want to do updates or you want to change your code, even if it was generated elsewhere, because it's sitting on your GitHub either way, then CreateOS is able to tap into your connected GitHub repo and make the edits and make the improvements incrementally. So maybe the first heavy lifting, you do it elsewhere, then you come to CreateOS and you do the tweaking and then deployment on CreateOS. That's perfectly reasonable.
And is there transparency with regards to how credit is used, or how much credit is used for creating this versus this, or how does that work in terms of the credit usage?
Yeah, so it is very interesting, because that, in my opinion, was probably one of the most complex bits in creating CreateOS.
Yeah.
Because we are pulling together, we are stitching together consumption of different types, different styles, and so many different platforms all at once. Then to simplify the understanding of consumption on CreateOS requires a lot of clever harmonization across different systems. Because maybe you're using Claude for certain things and then certain model of ChatGPT on another, and then you're just using our own system without knowing what it is to do other things. We have credit consumption at the back end for ourselves. So we try to be as transparent as we can. If you go to the pricing page, you will see that there are the parameters, but it's never enough. And I think it's one of the things that sparks more curiosity, because indeed it's quite complex. But you will see, like, there are parameters, there are description over, because it's a blended model. I think the short answer is it's a blend model. So you have CPU, you have RAM, and then you have jobs and credit top up. We've done reasonable, I think it's been a reasonable exercise on harmonizing by complexity. So for certain tasks, fleet tier would be enough to cater for your flow. For others, you will have to go into the beginner. For others, definitely you need pro. Therefore, there is no credit top up needed, right? You will just use and consume just the subscription, so that there is no need for any additional top up. But not gonna lie, that is probably the most complex part, and we are actively always researching and optimizing. So anyone who has any feedback about credit consumption, we are all ears. That's for sure.
Yeah, because that's one of the things for me on Lovable, that it's not very transparent how much credit is being used for what, right? So you do one prompt and it takes 3 credits. You do another prompt and it takes 10 credits. So it's I guess, as you were saying, it's a very complex system. So it's even hard for Lovable to say, or for you guys to say, this is how much credits this is going to take, right? Because it just depends on what is being deployed or coded.
Yeah.
You can never tell, right? Also because sometimes the prompt. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Because the only point that I wanted to make is that you're right, in the sense that these are extremely elaborate and complex models, right? And the computation that's going into each command is different. But I would say, as a user, in order to capitalize and make the most on your hard-earned bucks and dollars, is to, of course, you'll get better the more you wipe code to understand, essentially, based on what prompt how intricate it is, what you're able to get out of it, is to refine it as much as possible, understand what you want to build, right? Look, for example, the guidelines that we have together, that we've put together, or other guidelines that are commonly available on other platforms as well, to understand, like, to have a clear idea of A, best practices that are available, and B, how you envision it to be. Of course, I'm not saying that the full build has to be clear in your head from the onset, because that's just not realistic. But, and of course, today is an example that what we're tweaking live based on what we're seeing, is to try and do maybe like a visualization exercise from the beginning, from the start, so that you're able to, from the first try and the first prompt with the model, to get as good of a result as possible and as good of a starting point to then build on. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess to an extent is good. Oh, sorry, just quick reflection. I've seen that it's the most effective way is to just go step by step instead of having a very fat prompt, to just build gradually so that you can kind of estimate the complexity a little bit better, if anything, as a an ongoing process. Like one very big prompt, it's a black box for anybody, like, because you really don't know the amount of work that is going to go in the back. Sorry, Roberta, you were going to speak.
I was going to veer off a little bit just to say hi to people in the chat, because I see that a few more people came on, and someone said that sessions like this are the best. Let's vibe code. Hi, Dave. And then the other thing I wanted to say was about security, because that's one of the issues I will see for my MVP, is making sure that it's secure, right, in the back end if I'm connecting with my Supabase API and all of that. Do you guys have any way to measure security or kind of alerts for security concerns within the code?
Yeah, so once you deploy, there is a security scanning that we had actually as an independent product.
Correct.
That there was something that was like an AI-assisted auditing and scanning with very, very timely suggestion over not just, hey, there is a problem, but how you should fix it. And then this is how you can fix it. Would you like me to fix it? Right? The entire life cycle is there. So that has been part of now the unified experience within CreateOS, which is to me we haven't spoken about it yet, but it's something that we will make quite some noise after we put a little bit of more education onto the basics of the product. But in essence, if you see on the main dashboard, after you go and deploy, there is a portion that has to do with the green, red, RAG rating over your deployments, and that will give you an indication. There you go, over your deployment information. So you see you have the uptime, and then next to it on the right hand side you have a security score as well.
Okay, right. Yeah. Sorry, where's the security score? Can you highlight it there?
Yeah. Eric, is deployment information. That's the box on the right. Deployment information. No, go up.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, that's it. That's the one. So you can run scans, and then that can be the security score over the code base that you have. And I appreciate that. Like, there is so much that
it's crazy intricate.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to make it as accessible as possible. There is definitely a lot of good product marketing that will go into explaining how to make use of it, especially as we start to become very fast at absorbing open code that has been created by others. Have to be super careful. You've seen with OpenClaw, there were quite some issues as it came out. So very, very important, very, very good questions.
Another point that I think it's important is that it's good to have what can I say, at the beginning, to have your curiosity take over and vibe code and go crazy. But if you say you choose, then you go for the pro plan and you start vibe coding like crazy and you deploy. If you deploy, say, 10 projects in one day and you not forget, but like you put, say, 4 or 5 of the first ones you put together that are probably going to be of a bit more raw and of a lesser quality, and you deploy them, you might want to delete them. Well, not delete them, but like, yeah, delete them if they're just trial projects, because otherwise that's going to consume your credits. So only keep live and deployed projects that you're all using and you think you're going to iterate on and further build, just so that it's you're getting the most return for your essentially for your subscription.
Yep.
Guys, this is such an ambitious ask.
Yeah, I think we are layering so many. I think the gods of LLMs are speaking and saying, just take it one step at a time instead of sandwiching so many changes all at once.
I think it's this thing.
Yeah,
I
maybe
think it's my fault. Yes.
No.
It's me.
Eric, when I messaged you about it, like thinking and initializing for so long, maybe because my prompt was like so long, maybe it was just like, nah, that's a bit that's a bit too much.
I don't know. I just hoped I'd like to see it, because I'd like to deploy it as well. That's the only thing. I don't know if you guys have a bit more time, we can further discuss.
Yeah, I'm up for staying on for a bit longer. Alex, what is your schedule like?
Give me vibe code and I'm in. What else is there?
Exactly.
I'm doing it with others. And I was reflecting also when we were live last time, it feels more and more like a team effort, like a team sport. Probably, I've never been on the side of the developer, a hard coding behind the trenches. I've always been on the other side of the
Aftermath.
the company, the aftermath, and then getting the people in. But I can sense this joint effort that comes by being vibe coding together with others, and I'm really, really loving it. This sense of creating, like building something that wasn't there before, and then you bring it to life, and you do it jointly with others, is so, so, so entertaining, so satisfying. So is marketing, pure marketing, but
It's true.
maybe maybe that's where the different type of fun, but the good fun is as well.
I think could agree more. I think one point that it's worth maybe shedding light on with you, Roberta, is considering that you had what the idea was, right? So you recognize the issue, which was probably I don't have access to the best job board within Web3. I have to look at Web3 jobs, which is a website, or another one and another one. It's all very scattered, and it takes time away from my day. What was that element of how much time did it go into doing actual analysis, so that you are able to properly understand what your build was going to look like, right? I think that's also an important point for the viewers.
Yeah, I think for me, if I understand it correctly, let me answer what I think. Can you actually say that one more time, and I'll just answer based on what you're asking?
How much time did it go into doing an analysis of what was currently available in terms of Web3 job boards, and understanding what the problem statement was for you, to then have a clear idea of what you wanted your ideal job board to look like, right? So people, just to provide an idea for builders out there to do also research if they want to go after a more serious build rather than something a bit more random and playful.
Yeah, I think that it came about quite organically because it was a problem that I was facing through my job search myself. So whenever I went to a job board and I opened a listing, then when you can check the view source code and you can inspect when it was published or updated. So I started doing that, and I realized that when you go when I went to Web3 careers, they were posting loads of jobs. So whenever I was applying, I opened maybe the latest 10 jobs that are relevant to me as a marketer. And then I realized all these jobs were posted a very long time ago. So instantly I was faced with the problem that now I have to sift through, maybe I have to open 100 job listings and check all the source codes in order to get to a couple that were posted recently. So for me, that was quite an organic pain point that arose just from the fact that I was looking for a job. And I think that a lot of products that solve a problem tend to come out of a problem that the owner or the founder identified in their own life or through something that they were doing. And so that's kind of how it came about for me. And then I just started to organically build up my database, and yeah, that was the path for me.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't kind of like I wasn't going from I want to build a product and let's find something I can solve. It was more like I'm doing this and I have this problem and I want to solve this problem for myself. And then the more I spoke about it, the more people resonated with that as well. And I've spoken to quite a few really, really frustrated candidates who go through the same process. So that's how I got a bit of initial validation for that. But to return to what you were saying, I think, Alex, before about MVPs and being able to go from idea to product, I think it's really exciting also from a marketer's perspective, because previously you spent a lot of time creating a product that no one wanted, right? Whereas now you can validate the product really quickly in the market and not in your head. So you can take it out, make a wait list, see whether there's demand very quickly. And if there isn't, then you can say, right, this is not a product that is generating any traction whatsoever, even within my small circle of connections, say, for example, on LinkedIn. So you can really quickly see what is interesting to people and what isn't, which is great because, previously you'd have to maybe build for 6 months. And I've been in projects in Web3 that are building the product for like a year or 2 years, a year and a half. And then you're like, well, what is the use case? Is this really useful, And sometimes I feel like when you have very technically minded founders, they kind of imagine a solution that would be great, but they don't actually validate it in the market. Whereas now you can validate it in the market with an MVP. And I saw another really exciting thing about MVPs is that you can actually now create an A/B testing of your MVPs. So you can have maybe 3 of the same products in different ways, and you can test it on your market and see like, well, out of these 3 MVPs, which one gets the best response from my audience. Which is
cool. I think it also breaks the concept of MVP as it used to be. I don't know, like I sense that we are crossing like also like a mindset where MVP was something that was scrappy because in any case it would take a lot of effort, some time to build anyway, and therefore it was coming with some very substantial trade-offs in terms of user experience. Right, so the MVP is, hey, I have the core of the value that is going to be created, but the wrapping would be generally less pleasant than it would be because that was the trade-off that you had to put in place in order to get to market quickly enough to validate your product market fit, your value prop, and so on. With the vibe coding waves, I believe that we are crossing towards having multiple MVPs that can be built as fast or faster, but also that can be refined so that the user experience is way more close to what is the final product, so that it actually brings back results that are way more, valuable, in my opinion. So it used to be that production ready had to do with a polished interface. An MVP was, a spreadsheet, like a white page with a spreadsheet at the back and someone furiously mailing you manually one by one. Just now, the degree of automation that you can conjure with, with agents, with agentic flows, the vibe coding, there are so many tools that are actually doing a great job also from a UI UX standpoint. Video tutorials, you can even do like AI avatars to explain your product, in a tailor-scaled way. So I think, to me, we are crossing the boundaries over what was the understanding of MVP, and the two things are getting more blended. On one side, products are less sophisticated on average because it's not needed. On the other, MVP are way more sophisticated because we can. So they're less, MVP as they used to be. I see like some questions in the chat around trade-offs. For example, in terms of speed, I don't know what you guys think. So the question is, what trade-offs are we are consciously accepting right now to maintain the momentum when it comes to building? That's a thing to me that's linked as a question around, MVP and what do you cut? What does constitute an MVP essentially? To me, that is the question over there.
I would say maybe this is a question that we can use. We can use Roberta's story here to have an. I mean, you're not the last kid on the block, right? You've been in the space. You're a marketer. You work for projects. You know essentially what the day to day actually looks like for the outcome that you're actually looking to get. Which I think it's either discovery or visibility through this board, and ideally finding the right role and landing it right. So that how from your perspective do you prioritize and organize your reasoning, right, and your next steps based on what you want to achieve, right? Because I think that's super important and maybe not something that the average builder does prioritize. And by the way, guys, this is building with a purpose, right? Like there can be, of course, building for fun, which is just like build me a game and you go and do it 1000%. But here it's more a little bit more what can I say, robust in the sense that you're doing something that is functional, instrumental towards attaining a goal, which is landing a role. It's not really trivial, right? So you need to put some actual logic behind it and understand what are the steps to get there. So how did you approach that to, and what are some of the learnings that people can take away from your journey so far, right?
Yeah.
So that you don't have, so that you don't have a useless build, but something that can be, functional towards landing it and then keep using it as well.
Yeah. So the way I approached it is first I looked at my own problems and I tried to map out what would be helpful for me as a starting point. And then once I had a functioning product that was presentable from a front end perspective as well, I started talking about it, and I've been having a lot of calls with candidates to see what they think would be helpful for them, because I wanted to gather more information and not just go based on my head. So my process has been very much like get it as soon as possible in front of people and get the feedback, and then get that feedback in, rather than spending a lot of time thinking about, well, this could be a feature, this could be a feature. It all doesn't feel like it really matters. I just wanted to have some core principles. So for me, it was transparency about the postings when it was posted, and transparency about how the companies recruit and how they operate from a candidate perspective. And then since it has developed through conversations with candidates, and also I've spoken to a few recruiters who told me like how it would be helpful from a recruiter perspective as well. With regards to things, trade-offs that I'm accepting, I think I know that one trade-off I'm not accepting is on security, and this is part of the reason I haven't actually published it yet, because I want to make sure that the security is really tight, so that candidate information doesn't get leaked if they sign up, because I have a sign-up form, and you have your own profile on the job board as well. But apart from security, I would be okay with trading off little things, because those would be constantly developing anyway as the product develops, as you understand your customers more. If that makes sense. And I think the other thing that's what I'm doing, because right now you can create a product and release it straight away, but I think it kind of misses the marketing and psychology of how people function. If you want a product that's successful, you need to build it up. You cannot just be like, right, I built something, here it is, and release it to the world and then expect that there's going to be as much around it, right? There's some planning about the hype generation, maybe creating a wait list, creating a community of people who are excited about it before it gets released. So even though now you could do it, I could release it today, I don't think it's a smart move from a marketing perspective and from a revenue generation perspective. Yeah. But that's just my take. I'm not sure what you guys think as fellow marketers. But yeah, because I'm just one person, right? If I was a company releasing a product, that's of course a different story. But it's just me releasing my little product over here with maybe 1,500 followers on LinkedIn. I need to be quite intentional with how I do that.
Yeah, it is very interesting, because another trend that I've seen, and I've seen it like firsthand with CreateOS, there is this new wave of people alone building their own products, which can be isolating, can be very liberating, can be very empowering, can be very scary, because all of a sudden it's everything on you. Everything is really on you, on execution, on decision making. can be very lonely because you don't have a team around you. So the sense of community that comes out of sharing your path with others, and that's why I think there is a resurgence, for example, of indie hacking communities within Reddit, or very good quality conversation on Twitch happening with live streaming, vibe coding, and an environment like ours. We want to create, a foster a community of people who don't feel isolated in their journeys to go to market with their products. Just because you're doing it alone, you don't have to feel alone in your journey. Like, there is a lot of co-sharing and learning and acceleration of your pathways just out of pooling resources and experiences, and bitching sessions, time to just moan and uh, uh, point at the moon and being very, very angry, very upset about the gods of LLMs not speaking to you in the right way. And it's all part of the journey. So being being part of a community of vibe coders, to me, is very important. I love the idea of going live and seeing others, even if it's failing, but that's so refreshing. That's a new way
For
of
sure.
building product in the open. As NodeOps and CreateOS, we really make a point for us to be building in the open, building public, so that it's just being honest in what the process actually entails. And by breaking that sense of vulnerability, because of course, if something doesn't go right, you're very vulnerable to criticism and to finger pointing. But by breaking that fear of vulnerability, it actually creates bonds and create a sense of belonging that otherwise I think it's very hard to get. So I would love to get more and more people. You would see today we have actually launched our first video of the Build It Now campaign. This campaign really moves the spotlight from us to the builders, such as Roberta, for using CreateOS and other, at any part of the journey within CreateOS. And just taking that chance of building in public together with us, and just getting kudos for showing up and telling how it is, with no filters, no fear of that being so exposed and so transparent about the process. So yeah, as a call to action for anybody, whether it's live today or it is something that you see as a recorded video, do take an opportunity to fill up the form. We now have a Build It Now campaign in full fledged. If you would like to be showcased, to be featured, be next Roberta and more, and as part of the videos as well. And just let us know what you have in mind. And we're very open. We are live almost every day. So there is plenty of opportunities for anybody to just come. But very excited. Maybe Eric, you can tell a little bit more about the product that we have showcased as part of the first video of the Build It Now, like official video. I think it was, again, very ambitious. And yeah, you have to see the full video to just get a vibe for what it
Exactly.
is.
And I think even that is in itself a teaser as to, because the main premise behind the first video was that it showed the team coming together and actually helping Kalash, who's the builder in question. And they met IRL in Bangalore. So it was great. Like, he had the rare opportunity to have access to a full pool of resources from the team. And it's got to do with affiliate programs. So I think the build will be interesting. It'll go live on CreateOS in the next few weeks. And I would say, as a result of the first episode of Prototype was created, and Kalash is just working on it and iteratively improve upon it. I think from our session, it's in I would say, deep loop of just keep improving, keep sort of modifying it. So I think the best way to do it is that I'll create a new one with your original prompt. I'll deploy it. Roberta, I'll probably do a loom with when I just record myself and doing it, and then I'll share, right? And I'll share the first build, and probably as Alex mentioned, I would say you have to, we learn publicly here is to maybe be a little bit more, what can I say, patient with your agent and take it step by step with your requests. See how it reacts based on what your needs are, and then yeah, you so take it step by step, because you don't really have full. You have control. Your control is your voice, right, and your instructions and by means of prompts. So I think the silver lining here and what we're trying to do today is probably batch everything together, and in hope of it, producing what we wanted. That's not to say that it's not able to. You just have to have the right way of feeding that information bit by bit to the agents. So the first iteration, I think, was surprisingly good. Like I'm completely honest. So I'll deploy it. Roberta, thank you very much for everything. We also we will also do record the in some shape or form. We'll maybe do a separate episode about the migration and talk with you to understand how you find that experience. Also because there's a little bit more sensitive information, so you won't want to do it live if there is keys and everything. But I think it's been very educational, and well, I've learned a lot, and so I wanted to thank you, Roberta, for joining us today. If there's anything you'd like to share, and then we'll end it there.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you as well. I just wanted to share with the chat and whoever is watching this that I've dropped the form to sign up to the waitlist for the job board if you're interested in being notified when it goes live. And yeah, it was a great experience, Eric and Alex. A lot of fun. So I enjoyed the hangout session. Thank you very much for your time, and Eric for writing out all our crazy additional ideas.
Always.
That's so nice. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you, Eric. It's always fun. It's always good to see and learn and iterate on what we're doing. Let's catch up sometime soon, Roberta. I'm sure it would be good to have a follow-up on this. I feel it's a bit of a cliffhanger. I always feel there is a cliffhanger when I don't see like a fully resolved. So let keep your eyes peeled either on this post that you see. There will be a follow-up attached to it, and definitely the call to action will be included on our channel. So lovely.
Fantastic.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you very much.
I see
And-
Twitch folks, YouTube folks, X. I see all our. Yes, everybody is here, and it's so great to have you here.
One last point is that I think we see some people who want to be featured. Like, if you have an idea, just fill out the form, the page, sorry, and you might have a chance to appear in an episode, and we'll build together your idea. So just do so. We'd be more than happy. Like, this is not an initiative we're gonna do once and like one episode or a few episodes and then just terminate. It's gonna be continuous. So it's a marathon. I was actually speaking about this today with Alex. So give us your ideas, fill the form, and we'll build together like we did today with Roberta. Thank you very much, and until next time.